Welcome to the Ada K Show. I'm your host, Ada K, and I am a criminal justice major. I am also a deaf courtroom commentator, breaking down the gripping courtroom drama while providing full ASL interpretation, making justice accessible to everyone. Grab a cup of Java and let's dive in. And don't forget, comment, like, and subscribe. And if you love this channel, please become a member. Good morning, everybody. I hope this finds you well and rested. I was, and it was so hard to get out of bed this morning. I almost called June and said, June, you're playing the live today. But nope, I'm here, but I will not be here all day. I have got to get into my sister's home. We got till the end of the month to get everything done. And, well, I need to take care of that. So after about 10:45, I'm going to hop out and June will take over the live until I can hop back in. I need to do an update for you on the Brown shooting. It is, here we go. The gunman behind the Brown University shooting, Claudio Manuel Neves Vante, if I say it wrong, age 48, a former PhD physics student from Portugal who briefly attended the school more than 20 years ago. He had no current ties to the university, but he did have ties with the victim of the MIT physics Professor Nuno Lorio 2 days after the Browns attack that he unalived. Valentino was identified of a Reddit tip. A user reported disturbing encounter with a man acting strangely near the engineering building on the day of the shooting. The tip included a physical description and a gray Nissan with Florida plates. Investigators said the information was the key that led him straight to Valentine. A 6-day manhunt followed involving federal, state, local agencies. Surveillance footage, video tracking, digital evidence eventually pointed the authorities to a storage facility in Salem, New Hampshire. When tactical teams entered the storage unit, they found Valentine dead in a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Inside the unit were 2 firearms and evidence that linked him to both the Brown University and the MIT shooting of the professor. His self-ending act ended the manhunt. Investigators are now focused on reconstructing his movements and determining motive, but no motive has been confirmed. So there you go. We got it, or they got him. We are currently waiting for the parent executed sentencing of the UT Mia Bailey trial. They're going to be doing the sentencing. I am going to do something that my mod is going to like. My mod is going to like this. It's a horrible video. I look like horrible, like massively horrible, like God ugly horrible. What did I do? Didn't mean to do that. Didn't mean to do that. Oh. There we go. I am setting up my short. Yes, I am. So, Miss June, I got a short for you. Good morning, one sunny day. Good morning, honey. Good morning, Miss June. Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Angela. Good morning, everybody. One sunny day. Yep, that's what I've been feeling. It is a beautiful sunny day today, actually, and I needed a beautiful sunny day today. I had a decent evening with my friends. Last night we did a little what is it called? They did a little Christmas thing at the meeting. I love those people. We had a good time. Okay, we are waiting for the courtroom to start the sentencing. Let me get a short synopsis of Mia Bailey's trial for you guys so you know what we're dealing with. Ooh. And as I've told everyone, y'all, between now and the beginning of the new year, we are making a lot of changes. You may not realize a lot of changes, but we are making a lot of changes. Okay, so Mia Bailey, 30-year-old woman from Utah, shot and killed her parents, Joseph and Gail Bailey, inside their Washington City home in June of 24. She was also attempted to unalive her brother, who was survived the attack amazingly. She is she is charged with 2 counts of aggravated murder and 1 count of aggravated assault, reduced from attempted murder as a part of a plea deal. So I guess she took a plea. 6 additional firearm discharge charges were dropped under the plea agreement. On October 25th, the judge ruled Bailey competent to stand trial, and prosecutors offered a plea deal shortly thereafter. I hate it when you got a hair that's tickling you. On November 6th of 2025, Bailey entered the plea guilty of guiltily and mentally ill, both redrum and assault. Bailey faces 25 years to life for each redrum count and additional time for the assault count. The sentencing is today, and it's also my mother's birthday. Happy birthday, Mom. In the days leading up to the sentencing, Bailey sent a handwritten note asking the judge to bar the media from the hearing. That didn't work. She also asked permission to skip the sentencing, claiming appearance in court could cause mental breakdown. The judge did not grant her request to exclude media, so we may not even get to see her. She may not even appear, which is like, okay. June 24, parents were found shot to death. Bailey arrested the next day. Competency hearing established a plea offer deal. And then Bailey pled guilty to mentally ill in November and December. Right now, we're waiting for the sentencing phase. Yeah, I kind of thought so too. I thought that was a little ridiculous to be doing well, they pled guilty with mental, so what does that actually mean? Um, well, I am trying to post this video, y'all. Hey, June, it worked. It's up and running. Y'all go look at the short. Please go like the shorts. It's very important that y'all like the shorts for me. It helps with my algorithm. It really, really does. Algorithm help is always a good thing. Thank you so much, Amy. All right, so what does it mean to be guilty and mentally ill? Well, the defendant admits to the okay. Checking the court sound. The defendant admits they committed a crime. They are legally guilty. The court will find that they were mentally ill at the time of the offense, but their mental illness does not raise the level of legal insanity. So they are still held criminally. So basically, she's saying, I'm guilty, but I was mentally ill at the time, but I didn't use the insanity, not guilty by reason of the insanity or the NGRI. Now, GBMI, guilty but mentally insane, means the person is guilty but had a mental illness that affected their behavior. They are treated as if found guilty, but to be committed to a mental hospital first if treatment is needed. This is a middle ground between guilty and not guilty by reason of insanity. So what's going to happen is that they have the option and they have the ability but I lost my train of thought. They will put her in a state hospital until she is found mentally sane enough to go and finish out her sentence. But the time that she spends in that facility will count towards her punishment. What? Oh, no, y'all don't. Oh, no, y'all don't. We're going to keep it going. There we go. There we go. Oh, sorry about that. Wrong place. You're imprisoned means you're imprisoned in a hospital jail. Yes and no. She will go to a state facility for the mentally ill and forensically. It's not guilty by reason of insanity, mentally ill, guilty, but mentally ill, and not guilty by reason of insanity. Those three will put her in a state hospital. They will do they need to do. And then when she is deemed medically sound, you can still have a mental illness and go to prison, but they're going to make sure she's medically sound and safe to go to a prison. At that point, she will go to a prison and serve out the rest of her sentence there. She's not going to vacate her sentence. That is not going to happen. She will serve the sentence as if she were just regularly guilty. I haven't really had my coffee this morning. Why is my mic loose all of a sudden? This sucks. Hold on. I gotta just. There we go. Sometimes it gets loose. Don't know why, but it does. Okay, so also while we are awaiting, give me a minute. It's still trying to publish stuff, so give me a minute, please. Still wants to publish. Oh. Oh, you will be around for the next couple of weeks, but after that, I'll be busy. Okay, good to know, Boo. I am going to go ahead, and while we're waiting, we're going to talk about Ian Mitchum. Ian Mitchum. Let me get my notes. I'm pulling them. I got to find them. Okay, got them. Okay, so this is going to be a full update with the information I've been able to gather, covering December 16th, 17th, or days 9 and 10 of testimony. Day 9, December 16th, the key witnesses were Scottsdale crime scene investigators. Testimony centered on the condition of the home, the blood trail, and the cleaning agents found throughout the scene. Investigators described a very strong smell of bleach and chlorine consistent with attempted cleanup. Photos and diagrams were shown to the jury. Forensic DNA analysis reiterated the break in the cold case from the DNA testing years after the red room. Analysts walked the jury through the collection and chain of command, custody, and testing process. The state emphasizes that Mitchum's DNA was found on multiple items, including evidence recovered from victim's body. So not only was the evidence found on things such as tools or sheets or whatever, it was actually found on the victim's body. The major point of testimony, the white substance was found on the surface inside the home and the victim's car, consistent with earlier reports of bleach used. The blood trail was described as snaking through the home, indicated movement during and after the attack. Prosecution continued building a narrative where Mitchum attempted to clean the scene, but left DNA that ultimately identified him. The court recessed early after lunch due to procedural issues not detailed in the public reporting. And that's where we left off. Hold on. So then we have day 10, which we didn't see anything. Additional forensic experts testified. Continued testimony in the DNA collection, probability statistics, and the match certainty, which would have bored the hell out of us. But we would have watched it. We wanted to watch it. The Scottsdale police detectives walked through the timeline and investigation, including why the case went cold, how the DNA hit was generated, and how Mitchum became primary suspect. The detective described the 2015 to 2025 investigative gap, explained the role of the updated DNA technology. Prosecutors argued that all evidence pointed to Mitchum, reinforcing their theory of actually motivated attack followed by cleanup attempt. The state heightened no forced entry, suggested the victim may have known or willingly opened the door to the attacker. The jury was shown additional crime scene photos and DNA charts. The courtroom resumed normally after a brief delay in the morning. 12 News confirmed the trial is still being streamed on their 12 Plus app and YouTube. Bullshit! Sorry. Overall prosecution strategy in the last 2 days hammered on the DNA evidence and the backbone of the case, reinforced the crime scene cleanup attempt, used investigators to show consistency of the evidence with single perpetrator, and built the timeline showing Mitchum's the only viable suspect. Yeah, it keeps giving the live stream sources. It's like that didn't work. Day 11 continued. Prosecution's methodical presentation of forensic investigative witnesses, focusing heavy on the DNA crime scene processing timeline of how the cold case broke open. Again, this is a heavy DNA case. Forensic expert DNA expert continuation from day 10, expanded on the statistical certainty, expanded how familial DNA led investigators to Mitchum's years after the murder, clarified the probability ratio. The Scottsdale police detectives walked the jury through the 2015-25 investigative timeline. And again, why the case went cold, the DNA hit and generated Mitchum became a suspect. Crime scene analysis followed up with the blood trail inside the home. And I got to do, okay. Blood trail inside the home, cleaning agents that were used, and the condition of the victim's vehicle. The major points of testimony on day 11 was the prosecution continued to stack forensic evidence. Detective emphasized no other viable suspect. The state reinforced the nature of the actually motivated attack, and the additional crime scene photos and diagrams were shown to the jury. And again, it says the courtroom 12 trial resumed December 18th, previous day's testimonies, no delays. It says it was streamed. Was not streamed. You can kiss our butts on that one. Anybody find a stream for today for the E.M. Mitchell trial? No. And as my mods and I and a couple other people actually have vigorously tried to get the apps downloaded on different devices, and that was not, it was unsuccessful. So, yeah, some one of you, I think it was Hello at Brit, said she could go and watch it. She could download it and see it, but none of us can. I hate it when you have a little hair that just tickles the back of your neck. That's what's going on with me, boo. So I'm going to go to YouTube. I'm going to see if they're actually going to stream it live today because everybody's pissing about it. Nope, day 9 is the last day that they show it being aired live. I'm going to go to their news station site, see if I can find it live. And of course not, day 9 is the last day live. That is chicken shite to have people get hooked on a trial and then force them to go to an app that doesn't even work. Hello, everybody. Hi, Stacy Katz. Welcome, welcome. I'm sorry if I didn't say hi sooner. I was reading in the information. And guess what? She did not want to be in court today. The judge made her come in. She was unalived both of her parents and tried to unalive her brother, and she was guilty with mental illness.
All right. This is the court in for Washington County, State of Utah. Is now in session with your honorable judge.
She's a big girl. Man, look how tall she is. Almost looks like a man behind from the back view.
Thank you, sir. Good morning. Welcome to 5th District Court. Matter before the court is State of Utah versus Mia Bailey, case number 2415011.
All right, cameraman, you have had 30 minutes or more of a live. I mean, you've been live for 42 minutes. Why are you just now adjusting your camera?
9-3, the matter is before the court for sentencing. The court has received and read the pre-sentence investigation report. The court has also read victim impact statements submitted by the state, letters from Ms. Bailey's brothers, Corey, Dustin, and Tyler Bailey, as well as her sister-in-law, Amanda Bailey. The Court has also read 3 letters submitted by the deceased grandchildren. Court has read psychological evaluation report submitted by the defense, prepared by Julia Conley, PhD, dated December 20th, 2024. Court has also read mitigation report prepared by Marissa Sandal, dated December 14th, 2025. Yesterday, a motion was filed by the defense asking this court to allow Ms. Bailey to be sentenced in her absence. Before I get to that, Mr. Stout, Mr. Jaeger, is the state ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Stout, is the defense ready?
We are, Your Honor.
Thank you. Do you wish to make any argument on the motion submitted?
Sir, based on the discussion we had in chambers this morning, I will just be submitting on the written document as is the written motion.
Thank you. Mr. Jaeger?
Your Honor, the state will just submit to your discretion, Your Honor.
Thank you. As the court stated, the court read.
All right, we will call her he now. He is trans. I did not know that. Thank you very much. Thank you. We really appreciate it. And thank you for joining us. Love to have people here
The
with us that
motion
we've
that
not seen
was
for a while.
filed by the defense yesterday, after reviewing the evaluations and mitigation report, as well as other documents that has been submitted. The court denies the defendant's motion to allow Ms. Bailey to not be present during sentencing. Rule
By the way, the judge is still calling him Miss Bailey.
22B of the Utah Rules of Criminal Procedure states on this point that the defendant may be sentenced in defendant's absence, does not have the absolute right, and the court for those reasons is denying the motion today. Mr. Jaeger, turn the time over to you.
Your Honor, the state
Is first going to have 2 of the brothers who are victims in this matter that are going to address the court. We will start with Corey. Destin.
Wow.
Thank you, Corey Bailey.
Y'all, prayers for both of these young men. This is not an easy thing to do. So, blessings.
Good morning, sir.
Get the camera. All right, this camera dude sucks. It makes me nauseated.
Come up here still conflicted about all of this. Just thinking a lot the past few days what it means to have justice served. As you may have read my letter, I don't feel like there can be any true justice in something like this. It is unfair all around that my family has been broken by this in many ways. We've lost our parents, and we've lost a sibling in many ways as well. So either way, no matter what, we are losing as a family on this sentence. For me and my family, the truest sense of justice we can come up with is making sure that we are safe now and in the future. And then also making sure that Mia is taken care of in the state hands as well for the foreseeable future. And that it stays that way. I've seen what happens to people who are kicked out of the system and live on the streets, ostracized by society, and it is not easy. And knowing that being in jail is not easy either. Neither one of those things are a good outlook for my sibling. Him being out is not a good outlook for my family, and our beliefs is that we would still possibly be under threat in the future. So we would like to recognize that, it is unfair all around for all of us, what all this has become, essentially. I simply wish we could figure out a better way, and I can't comment on the actions of that day, the role of mentality was going on, whether it was just anger or not. I don't know. I'm still, as I said, very conflicted about all of this. All I know is that what's best for us and what's best for Mia is probably staying in prison for as long as possible. And that's just, for us, that's kind of the reality we've come to.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey.
Your Honor, the state would now call Dustin.
Thank you. Mr. Bailey, good morning to you.
That'd be great. I have a prepared statement.
You are correct. If they have not legally had their gender changed in all documentation will say female, that is correct. I have known judges before that even though the documentation has not been changed, they request to be called he or she in the opposite of what they physically are. I have known judges to honor that respect. But we just learned that. Thank you so much from Pancakes One. But I have known judges to go ahead and honor that.
Thank you. Your Honor, we sit before this court as the children, grandchildren, sister, brother, mother, extended family, and friends. The majority of the remaining family that hasn't spoken today of Joseph Blue Bailey and Gail Bailey, two real people whose lives were defined not by how they died, but how they lived. We also stand here as a family to Mia. That dual reality is not something we choose, but is something that we must carry honestly. We are addressing the court, Mia, and the public at the same time, because the truth in this case must be spoken plainly without distortion and without hiding behind abstraction. Our father, Joseph Blue Bailey, spent most of his working life as a maritime engineer on tugboats. He was gone for months at a time, doing physically demanding and often dangerous work so his family would be stable and secure. He believed in responsibility, not excuses. If something broke, he fixed it. He showed his values through consistency rather than words, by working hard, providing for his family, and being present in the ways he knew how to be. Our mother, Gail, was a homemaker, but advocacy was her life's work. She spent years navigating schools, doctors, and systems that resisted accommodation, particularly when it came to mental illness. She did that work without a title, without pay, and without recognition, because her children mattered more than anything else. Long before most people understood what autism or schizophrenia meant, she was fighting school systems, attending IEP meetings, researching, calling, pushing, and insisting that her child not be written off because she was difficult or complicated. When Mia struggled, Gail's response was not frustration or withdrawal. It was persistence. She meant it, even when it had exhausted her, even when it cost her peace, and even when it delayed the life she and our father had worked decades to earn. What we miss is not abstract. We miss sitting on the porch with them at the end of the day when we were visiting, We miss phone calls that didn't have an agenda, just checking in. We miss our mom's pies that won contests and anchored our holidays, something familiar, expected, and uniquely hers. We miss our dad's steady presence, doing small repairs, keeping things moving, and grounding the room without needing to be the center of it. The grandchildren miss grandparents who showed up, who babysat, ferried to them sports and activities, spoiled them, and made them feel safe. These ordinary moments are gone forever. If Bill and Gail were here today, they would not ask for the harshest sentence simply because it exists. They would ask for treatment, structure, safety, acknowledgement of severe mental illness, and yes, consequences, but not retribution. They believed accountability mattered. They did not believe in destroying people to satisfy anger. Mia, we do need to speak to you directly and plainly. What you did ended the lives of our parents, our family, and that truth does not soften with time, explanation, or context. Two people are gone forever because of your actions, and accountability is required. It must be serious, and it must reflect the harm that was done. At the same time, we refuse to pretend you arrived at that moment with a healthy mind, full capacity, or adequate support. You did not. You arrived there after years of severe mental illness, escalating instability, and repeated failures by systems that were supposed to intervene when it was clear you were not safe or well. Saying this does not excuse what you did. It tells the truth about what happened. Accountability does not require us to deny your illness, and acknowledging your illness did not diminish the lives that were taken. Both realities exist at the same time. We want you to understand this. The consequences we are asking for are not rooted in hatred or revenge. They are rooted in responsibility, safety, and the reality that you required structure and treatment to survive. What happened cannot be undone, but pretending you are someone you were never capable of being does not serve justice, and it does not honor our parents. Your Honor, we support consecutive sentences because 2 lives were taken. Each life deserves to be recognized. That is not negotiable. But we are asking the court to understand that life without the possibility of parole is not justice here. It is abandonment disguised as severity. Consecutive sentences allow for recognition of each loss, long-term incapacitation, mandatory treatment and structure, and future professional review, not automatic release, but accountability over time. That distinction matters. This tragedy did not occur in isolation. One of the most painful truths is that Mia did try to get help. In the days before the murders, Mia voluntarily checked herself into a state-run mental health facility. She was experiencing significant psychiatric symptoms. She knew something was wrong. She sought care, and she was released after only 3 days. At the time of her release, she was still experiencing serious symptoms. She was not stable, she was not safe, and she was not adequately supported. We believe, and we say this with care and seriousness, that she should not have been discharged so quickly. That decision was another failure in a long chain of failures that left everybody vulnerable. That failure harmed Mia, and it endangered our parents. In the months leading up to this tragedy, Mia was also able to obtain powerful hormone medications through a telehealth system that required almost nothing of her and protected almost no one else. Just a few video calls, roughly 15 minutes each. That is what stood between Mia and medications that would further destabilize an already fragile and deteriorating mind. There was no meaningful psychiatric evaluation. There was no sustained oversight. There was no follow-up that matched the severity of her mental illness. What existed instead was a model that functioned less like medical care and more like a subscription, one that prioritized access and liability protection over clinical responsibility. We want to be absolutely clear for the record. There is nothing wrong with being transgender. We support LGBTQ rights fully. This has nothing to do with identity. This is about medical negligence. Providing powerful hormones to a person in a psychiatric crisis without proper psychiatric safeguards is not affirming care, it is reckless. In this case, it has acted as an accelerant, intensifying instability, impairing judgment, and compounding risk. That failure harmed Mia, and it endangered our parents. Despite loving Mia, despite knowing her struggles, despite trying to help, we were also unable to prevent her access to a firearm. Families are expected to manage psychiatric risk without authority, without enforcement power, and without meaningful legal tools. The burden is placed on families until tragedy makes intervention unavoidable. Our parents paid the price for that gap. Justice should be honest enough
We're going to go through, sorry about that. We're going to go through and do a deep dive on this guy's comments because wow, is it loaded.
to acknowledge it. And Mia, if you're ever released decades from now, the reality you face will already be severe. Being a transgender felon in Utah will make integration into society extraordinarily difficult. That reality alone is a lifelong consequence. Allowing parole eligibility does not guarantee release. It preserves the role of evaluation, treatment assessment, and accountability, rather than declaring that no amount of change, insight, or stability will ever matter. Our parents believed in a structure with accountability was stronger than hopelessness. Your Honor, in closing, we ask the court to impose consecutive sentences. We ask the court to acknowledge severe mental illnesses as real and relevant. And we ask the court to deliver justice that our parents, practical, compassionate, and grounded, would recognize as worthy of their lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bate. Mr. Jaeger?
Your Honor, just to follow up with that, and I recognize I cannot say that better than what is already spoken. But the state is also asking for consecutive. We're asking for consecutive because that is our policy and that is our practice. And that has been the practice since I've worked here back in 1999, Your Honor. When you have two separate lives, we recognize each life. And that's what we have here. And each life deserves a separate consequence. And that's why it's consecutive, Your Honor. The second reason why I'd be requesting for consecutive is because when you look at aggravated murder, there are several different factors. And under 76-5-202, in this case, and you only need one factor to charge aggravated murder, but in this case, you have 4 of those factors. First of all,
Wow.
under 2A, 2 or more individuals' lives were lost on that day. Under 2B, when you commit a homicide with an attempt to kill another, that is an aggravated factor. We also have that here. The defendant attempted to kill Corey. In fact, in the interview, the defendant stated that the brother was not her main target, but she would not have been sad had the gunshot killed him. The third is under 76-5-202-3, an actor knowingly created a risk of death to another individual. Your Honor, Corey's wife was also there. And as Mia was running down the stairs and they heard the shots upstairs, Corey's wife hid in the closet. Gratefully, Corey got his wife out of the closet and started climbing out the window. When Mia fired that shot through the door, it went right into the closet where Corey's wife was. It is a miracle that she is not dead. It was very close to having 3 deaths on that day. And the fourth factor, Your Honor, as to why this must be consecutive is because Mia knew that she was not allowed at that house. And yet she still went to the home despite a protective order, despite knowing that she was not welcome there. That is an aggravated burglary. She broke into that home. And in doing so, that is the fourth factor under 76-5-202, Section B, that is an aggravated factor. Based on those 4 factors, Your Honor, we are asking that this be consecutive. The final reason that I'll point out as to why this should be consecutive is just based on the heinous and premeditated nature of the crime. Mia planned this crime out, purchased a gun. Again, Mia knew that she shouldn't even be purchasing a gun because of a protective order. She went to the range, she practiced. She planned when to go, specifically targeting 4 individuals. Your Honor, I was going to go into much more detail about the heinous nature of this crime. I was prepared today to have 2 officers testify and play actually some additional evidence. But I'm not going to do that because of what the brothers have asked for and because of how they presented themselves and the statement that they have made. I believe that is sufficient. And I'm just asking you to follow what they have asked for and that you sentence Mia consecutively on these counts. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jager. Mr. Stout.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just a couple quick housekeeping items. I would ask that the court issue an order that the psychological evaluation and the mitigation report be made part as an addendum to the pre-sentence report so that would follow my client to the prison.
That'll be the order.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Your Honor, on behalf of Mia Bailey, I am asking the court to impose concurrent sentences. Utah Code 76-3-401 addresses what the court needs to consider when considering concurrent or consecutive sentences. Subsection 2 specifically says the court shall consider the gravity and circumstances of the offenses, the number of victims, as well as the history, character, and rehabilitative needs of the defendant. And I will focus my comments today on Mia's history and character and rehabilitative needs. First, and I think very importantly, Mia has no prior criminal history. None. No prior convictions, no prior arrests. And what the court has already heard today and what the court has already read in the pre-sentence report as well as the victim impact statements is that Mia is severely mentally ill. She was diagnosed with autism at age 4, which to be clear is not a mental illness. It is a disability and it does greatly affect her behavior and affected her development. She's also been diagnosed with ADHD, OCD, anxiety, depression, psychosis, possible bipolar with psychosis, and schizophrenia. Part of this, Your Honor, in the summer of 2023 and 2024, she was admitted to the hospital for paranoia, delusions, and hallucinations. She was discharged the most recent time that she committed herself, as has been mentioned. She was discharged 3 days later, and 10 days later, she murdered her parents. I want to quote from 2 of the victim impact statements, because honestly, I think they say better than I could what I want to convey to the court. And I'll try to do this without identifying the relationships, but these are in the pre-sentence report, victim impact statements the court has read. I need to say something that's difficult to articulate while carrying all this pain. Mia was severely mentally ill. I grew up watching her struggle with autism and schizophrenia. I saw how hard the victims worked to help her, to find treatment that would work, to support her, even when she was difficult and frightening and exhausting to be around. They never stopped trying because they understood something about her condition that's hard for a lot of people to grasp, that her cognitive functioning and emotional regulation were profoundly impaired in ways that make her fundamentally different from neurotypical adults. What she did was devastating and unforgivable in so many ways. She deserves to spend decades in prison for taking them from me, from all of us. But I recognize what the victims spent their lives recognizing, that Mia's actions came from a place of severe psychiatric dysfunction, not calculated evil. The combination of her autism, schizophrenia, and the hormonal destabilization she was experiencing created a perfect storm that her already impaired brain couldn't withstand. From another one of the impact statements, and this one's a little more brief.
I'm sorry, June to studio chat, please. June to studio chat. Thank you.
I need this court to understand something fundamental. Mia is not a neurotypical adult who made calculated evil decisions. Mia has severe autism and schizophrenia, a combination of conditions that left her functioning at the cognitive and emotional level of a young child, particularly during times of stress or psychiatric crisis. And I offer these comments, Your Honor, not as an excuse, but somewhat of an explanation, and just on behalf of Mia, for the court to understand what led up to these horrific events. What this shows, Your Honor, is that Mia's history and character is not that of a calculated, evil, cold-hearted person. Her rehabilitative needs are significant, and very well, she may be rehabilitatable, but only time will tell. We can't predict the future on that. I don't know, I don't think anybody knows 20, 30 years from now where Mia will be as far as whether she can function in society, whether she's paid the price. By pleading guilty, Your Honor, she accepted responsibility for causing the death of her parents and assaulting her brother. In the pre-sentence interview, as noted in the pre-sentence report, Mia expressed remorse for her actions and regret for what she did. For all of this, she will spend significant time in prison. But as we all know, how much time she spends in prison will be up to the Board of Pardons. The board will be in the best position in the future to decide if and when Mia can re-enter society. Both the options the court has of concurrent or consecutive, both have the life top as an option. So that, simply put, by imposing concurrent sentences, this will give the Board of Pardons and Parole the greatest flexibility to determine if and when appropriate to allow Mia to be paroled, to be released, and to re-enter society. That's what I'm asking the court to do, is simply give the board the most discretion by allowing concurrent sentences so that they can make that determination, recognizing that under either scenario, they could keep her there for the rest of her life. But concurrent allows them the greatest flexibility to make that decision in the future. And with that, I will submit, Your Honor, I believe my client still wants me to read a statement when the court is ready for that. She understands she has a right to, well, I'll let the court address that.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Stout. You may go ahead and read the statement
Thank you.
written by your client.
And Your Honor, this, Mia did write the statement. I had talked to her about her option to address the court directly. I also offered the option for her to prepare a statement and have me read it. So I did help her with the very last part of this, but this is her statement, her words. It's fairly short. It brings me great pain and regret of the events that followed. I was not in a stable mindset at the time, and if only I had gotten help, this would have been preventable. It makes me want to die because I can't live with myself. I am sincerely, deeply sorry to my family that I committed this atrocity. I wish I could earn forgiveness in time. Because of my religious beliefs as a Muslim, it would be appropriate to take my life for atonement for what I did. Your Honor, those are Mia's words. And I'm just asking the court to impose concurrent sentences again to give the board the greatest flexibility about making that decision in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stout. Anything else that the defense wishes to present?
No, Your Honor, that's it.
Mr. Jager, anything else?
Your Honor, if we could just approach for a moment.
You may.
Okay, June, the time has been pushed back, so I will have to leave at 11:15. And that is about 19 minutes from now. I will leave in about 19 minutes from now. No problem, Angela. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Well, the court greatly appreciates the brother's sons addressing the court. You know, the gravity that this court feels in the courtroom is very real. It's unfortunate these things happen. And Miss Bailey, you're here because of horrible acts that you committed. The thing that the court's able to receive, as I stated earlier, as I prepared for today, it's the letters that are submitted. The letters give me an opportunity to understand what the victims have been going through. I didn't know your parents, but I feel I kind of know them now. And that's important. That's important because as we leave the courtroom here today, that life is going to go on for everyone. And certainly all of us feel for the victims in this case. And the victims are real. I'll just read one part of the statement that the granddaughter wrote. She said, one of my last and most treasured memories with them, Grandma, Grandpa, was a simple, quiet moment. We sat on their porch together watching the sunset. That moment means a lot to me. It was the last bit of quality time I spent with them. We didn't need words. Even in the quiet of that memory, I felt their love and warmth. Every sunset I see now reminds me of them and our last moments together. Losing them has left a constant ache in me that I've been carrying ever since. See, the reality is that it's not just that your parents have passed on now with an act that you committed. It's the ripple effect that so many people feel. And it's cliche for a court to try to suggest that after sentencing that we can all move on. But with that said, I sincerely hope that the grandchildren and loved ones and siblings and the divide that this type of thing has caused, that there can be a mending of fences and there can be a mending with the siblings. It's been difficult. I think that your parents would have been very proud of your brothers in a very difficult circumstance today on what they said here to the court. I felt it had a very, very compassionate tone toward you. And yet there was accountability, and yet there was the love and the things that your parents taught your family. And that came out, and that should have come out, and I appreciate hearing that. Your acts on that day were very chilling. if we follow what happened, you came to the house, you had a gun, you shot your parents, then you proceeded to go downstairs, the door was locked, shot into the room, your brother Corey and Amanda were. And then you went back upstairs. Ms. Bailey then went back upstairs. She stated she returned to her father, who was lying on the ground, and shot him one more time in the head to make sure he was dead. Spent shell casings were also found near Joseph Bailey's body.
Calculated.
She heard her mother making noises. Miss Bailey walked back over to her mother and shot her in the head to make sure she was dead. Gravity of the circumstances, again, are there. And as to the sentence today, the sentence should and will be consecutive sentences. Ms. Bailey, in case 2415-01193 to the charge of aggravated murder, a first-degree felony, you are hereby sentenced to serve 25 years to life. Count 2, aggravated murder, first-degree felony, you're hereby sentenced to serve 25 years to life. Count 3, aggravated assault, a third-degree felony, you are hereby sentenced to serve 0 to 5 years, always at the Utah State Prison, to run consecutive one with the other. Restitution will remain open. You're hereby remanded to the Department of Corrections to serve this sentence. Good luck to you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Korobian.
Okay, so that's 25, 25, 0 to 5. That's a minimum of 50, minimum of 50 years. They'll have to serve 25. Then if she gets paroled, it'll be another 25 years. Then if she gets paroled and still alive, 0 to 5 more.
Recess.
Great, thank you.
50 years minimum. Yep, 50 years minimum. 0 to 5 years for the assault on the other brother. That's why I say minimum of 50 to 55 years. And then, but that's a life sentence. Okay, we're done with that, y'all. We're done. I think what I'm going to do today, 50 to 55 to life ain't going to, yep. Not going to be getting parole. Absolutely not. I want to thank everybody for watching today. I was going to go ahead and let us do some court hopping, but Judge Boyd does not have court up right now, so there's nothing really for us to gain for that. Let's everybody just have a nice long weekend. If reconstructive surgery has not happened, then she will go to a men's prison. Yes, that is correct. Only upon full reconstruction will she go to a female. Now, do you know what's scary? And I'm not saying this to be against or for, but I find it interesting that if you're in prison, some places will do gender reassignment surgeries and the person gets it for free. But a person who's got cancer can't get free surgery. I'm just saying. I don't know. I'm not going to get in that debate, but that is how this goes. There has been somebody in prison in a state, I can't remember which state it was, that was in a man's prison, was had the regendering surgery, and then will be living the rest of their time in the female prison. That's just the way it works. So with that, everybody, thank you so much. We've had some new people join us, or people we haven't seen in a while. Chicago Bear 48616, thank you. Pancakes, thank you. Y'all are new here, or it's been a very, very long time. Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, all of our mods, our mods, June, Honey, Amy, and Ari, thank you so much for joining us today. And all of those who did not comment, thank you so much for joining. We will see you Monday morning unless something else pops. And by the way, if you didn't know, go watch my short. The Brown shooter and the MIT shooter was found unalived in a storage unit due to self-inflicted wounds. There you go. Bunch of love to my mods. They sent me, I got more presents. I got me a Highlander blankie. I got to wash it to get the wrinkles out. Is it upside down now? It's upside down. But what it says is, I am not lazy, which I am. No, I'm not. I am just in energy saving mode. And they got me a beautiful calendar, and y'all kind of seen the rest. They got me this beautiful plaque and the beautiful cup behind me for my graduation. So thank you so much to my mods. Y'all have truly blessed me, and I appreciate it. This week ends up my week of celebrations for my graduation. I have applied. I am now in the mode of getting reintegrated back into the college as quickly as I can, trying to get into master's program. So yes. So that's where I am. So we're trying to get back into the master's program. I don't know why that account. Why it switched accounts on me. That's weird. Okie dokie. We are all good. I'm just checking to see because I want to see while I was live if I got into the master's program. There should be no reason why I should not, with my grades being a 3.9999999. Thank you so much for being so proud of me. I appreciate it. It's a big accomplishment. I'm grateful that that part of my journey is over, and now I move on to the master's program. I just feel like I have more validation when I talk about criminal justice because that's what my degree is in. So anyway, y'all have a great afternoon, great evening. We will see you guys Monday morning unless something else pops. Also, keep an eye out on our Discord for the news people. We do have a fabulous little Discord. We do movies a lot on our Discord. So if you would like to, there is our Discord. Scan that real quickly with your phone and join us in Discord. Oh, I know. I love learning, but hate the deadlines. Well, the deadlines keep me honest. Otherwise, yeah. So, honey, thank you so much for being here. Everybody, thank you so much. Have a great weekend. See you Monday, if not soon. Thanks for watching. Please comment, like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. I hope you have an awesome day. Till next time, take care.